Hello. So I'm just going to go over two problems with you. So now you've got combining like terms. Now we're going to move on to solving equations. Now we got to review what you did last year, which is solving one-step equations. So that means solving equations with addition, subtraction, and then solving equations with multiplication, division. Now, you may be like, Mr. Schneider, why are you giving us decimals with solving equations? That's because decimals with solving equations is harder for you to do in your head. And I really want you to write these down and follow the steps. And the reason why is because eventually, by eventually I mean at the end of the week, I'll give you a problem that looks like this. Okay? And that is very hard to solve in your head. But if you follow the steps, it is very, very easy. So, get used to the steps now. So, here's what we do. We say, okay, your goal is to figure out what D is equal to. That's your goal. And sometimes, to make it easier for myself, some people call it a river, I just do like a dotted line down. So I know that whatever happens on one side, I have to do exactly the same thing to the other side. You got to balance the equation out. So, what is in the way of this D being alone, which is my goal? Well, what's in the way is a plus 1.2. So, how do you get rid of a plus 1.2? How do you make that into a 0? Plus 1.2. Yeah. I'll use a different color. U minus 1.2. Because a plus 1.2 and a minus 1.2 crosses out to get a 0. Then U minus 1.2 on this side. So, now we got to do 1.2 minus 0.9. 1.9 minus 1.2. Well, which one's bigger? The 1.2 is bigger. So you take the sign, and then you just subtract like normal. 1.2 minus 0.9. Okay? You may be able to do that in your head, jump up, to 0.3. Or you can borrow, bam, bam, 0, 12, 3. Remember, if it's a decimal answer, you got to be 0.3. Now, here's the trick. If you just type in negative 0.3 into the computer, it'll mark it wrong. Because I want you to say D equals negative 0.3. So you know that that's what we're solving for. Okay, next one. Oh, the first letter of the password is R. Cool. So now we have this. We're like, okay, your goal is to get X alone. That's the first thing you should write down. Then the next thing, if it helps, is do like the little river thing. But now we got this. So now what do we do? Well, right now it's X something 4. What is the 4 doing? The 4 is dividing. So it's divided by 4. Well, what's the opposite of dividing by 4? The opposite of dividing by 4 is timesing by 4. So you times that by 4, that cancels out to a 1. You times this by 4. Oops, sorry. And you just get an X, and 2 times 4 is 8. X is 8. Okay, that's pretty much it for today. So watch the lesson videos. If you need help, please write it out. Don't do it in your head. Don't do it in your head. Don't do it in your head. I'm going to make it a song. Don't do it in your head. Don't do it in your head. Do. Write it out. Write it out. Write it out. Okay, that's pretty good. Triple platinum. Oh, no, the last letter of the password is E.